some really exciting things to share. So I'm Drew Williams. If you haven't met me, I'm the CEO and founder of Sales Playbook Builder. We've been around. I've been around sales my whole career, and for the past 6 years, running Sales Playbook Builder and building sales playbooks for over 500 different companies and all sorts of different industries and all different sorts of sales teams. And so we're really great at building playbooks. And one of the things we've noticed over the last 6 years is that even though we've evolved the playbook from a paper playbook, and actually I got my original paper playbook up here from the first company I was working for. It's like 150 pages or something like that. So we've evolved a lot from the paper playbook, but what we're seeing and noticing is that the playbooks still just sit on a shelf, and now it's a digital shelf, or they sit in an LMS, or they sit in a folder somewhere. And the challenge with that is that it's really reactive for sales reps. They have to go reach for something and pull it out. And we know as sales leaders and individual contributors, our world is not linear. It's very dynamic, and we need things in the moment, and we need things to kind of be brought together for us, instead of us going out searching for things. So what we're seeing is the sales playbooks are being built, but they're just sitting on the shelf. And so after we build the playbooks, they kind of just sit on the shelf, and it nothing really happens with it. And the challenge with that is that the good reps, they just go back to selling by their gut feeling and their own experience, and not following the process and the value props and the methodology that we put into the playbooks. And those new reps just wing it, and they don't really know what to do, or they start pinging the experienced reps or the sales leaders to help them out. And with this AI world, what we're seeing is that the reps are taking these sales enablement resources, put it into their own chat GPTs, their own Geminis, their own Claudes, whatever the LLM of their choice is. And they're getting some okay answers, but those tools aren't designed by salespeople for salespeople. So they're not getting the answers that they want. And again, they go back to just winging it or going from their gut. And so what we found is that the playbook foundations and the methodology that go into it, it's solid, but it's the delivery mechanism. So we thought, what if your sales playbook could actually coach reps, run role plays with real buyers that the sales reps are preparing for, not just generic AI, and answer questions at a 3 p.m. on a Tuesday when the sales leader or you're not available. And so before I jump in, I just want to give you an idea of how we built this AI very intentionally, for sales teams, by sales teams. And so the first layer of knowledge, and if you're familiar with AI and large language models, there's two kind of core components. One is the knowledge base, so the information that it pulls from, and the other side of it is the system instructions. So it's like how it's supposed to act. So that's why when you go into Chat GPT and you ask it to prepare for a call or build a sales playbook, it doesn't have that context that you can give it, with that knowledge base. And also, it's designed in their system instructions to just be a helpful assistant for everybody in the world. So we've designed it intentionally to build that knowledge base, which is your sales enablement, your sales playbooks, your processes, methodologies, in there as a knowledge base to pull from. And then also the system instructions to act like truly like a sales coach and a sales advisor for those reps. So understanding the questions that they're asking, understanding the intent behind those questions so that they're getting better answers and more proactive answers to help them out, during their sales process. So the second layer is personal context. So we build this great playbook that we want to deploy to our reps, which is wonderful, but each rep is a little bit different. Some might have more experience in the industry. Some might have more experience as a seller, but not in the industry. Some of them might be a little bit afraid of selling up. So maybe they're 5 years into their sales career and they're selling to 20-year veterans. And so, how do we adapt the AI for those individuals? And I'll show you how we do that. But you're able to add that personal context. So each rep that logs in has that foundational knowledge, but then also they can customize it to their personality, their writing style, who they're selling to, their ICP, their geography, their coaching area, and even their goals for the quarter. And then the third layer, which is really interesting to really make it living and breathing, is this idea of accumulated insights. So as the reps are working with the playbook and working with the platform, every action makes the AI smarter. So there's a closed loop system that when the rep goes in, they ask a question through the chat or through the voice, or they're preparing for a call. The AI learns patterns, and then the coaching adapts to that, and the feedback adapts to that. The rep improves, and this happens over and over and over again. So it truly becomes a living and breathing document that you can access, but also compounds in value over time. So what we built is this idea of a document to a system where we have a context-aware chat. So it acts similar to a ChatGPT or Gemini, but it's trained on your playbooks and your methodologies. We have role play, so we can actually bring it to life with voice and have conversations with the playbook and prospects. You can prepare for prospects based on how you run your discovery calls or your multi-stakeholder calls. And then from a leadership perspective, some coaching intelligence to understand how the reps are actually using the playbook, and some aggregated data to help you direct your one-on-one calls or your group sales team calls. So I'll show you four things in 2 minutes. Um, and just to give you an idea of like where we play, because there's a lot of tools out there and there's a lot of AI stuff, and it's very busy. And I want to be clear about where we play and where we don't play. So when we think of the Sales Playbook Hub, we really sit in kind of these two places. So from a lead generation perspective, we're not finding contacts for you. It's once you have those contacts, then we can do some research on them, do some company intel, and then also some prep for that cadence, for those calls, for those LinkedIn messages, again, based on the playbook. And then also before the call, so if we got a prospect in, we got a meeting set up on Friday, we're talking to a CMO and a CTO, I can run some role plays, I can put together a call prep sheet, I can push it to my CRM, and I can also get coaching based on that. So I'm really prepared and I can practice on the prospects, but also not on the live call. I can warm up my chops before that. After the call, debrief, get some coaching based on the coaching framework that you have in your sales playbook. Push it out to your CRM so you have that feedback in there. And then finally, from a leadership perspective, we have some insights into the pipelines for our team, so we can see where the deals are. We can ask questions about it. We can chat with it to get some insights that help prepare for those one-on-one meetings and focus your coaching. And really touching on the entire sales process is the idea of like bringing all of your sales enablement to life in each of these places. So whether it's onboarding, playbook management, certifications and skill paths for new reps, team intelligence, and also a resource library that you can add to. Cool. So let's jump in. And if you have any questions, feel free to just pop them in the chat at any time. And I can address those as we go through. Cool. So I am in our sales playbook. This is my sales playbook builder. This is our sales playbook. So we've trained the AI on our entire playbook in here, all of our resources. You'll notice that we just published a new resource, so we get an alert in there. These are other pieces of the library, the knowledge base that we talked about to help inform the reps and inform this conversation. So let's just say I know that I've got a discovery call, and I know that they're evaluating a couple tools, and one of the tools is Showpad, which is one of our competitors from a sales enablement perspective. So if I went into chat or Gemini, whatever it is, and I said, hey, I'm preparing for a call and I've got a competitor, what's my angle? It doesn't have the context of our playbook. It doesn't have the context of who I am as a seller. And so that's what's great about this, is that it brings that enablement to life so that every rep is getting a consistent message and they can go to market with the same angles. So this is powered by Gemini, so you can chat with it, you can prepare, create any sort of enablement on your own to help you get ready for those calls. If you want to save it to your notebook, you can save it here. And we've got a notebook feature so that you can go back to it. And also, when you save it to the notebook, the AI remembers it. So if you wanted to have a conversation about it later in practice, you can go ahead and do that. If you're preparing again for a call, I can push it to the CRM and push and select the dry or the deal that I'm working on. So if this one is with Quinn Brown, we can send it over there so that I can do all my prep, let's say on Monday, and then I've got my all my prep done for the week. Where it gets really interesting is the voice. This is my favorite part of it, because I think as sales reps, especially when we're having conversation with buyers, text is okay, but having real conversations and getting feedback and coaching through voice is something that I've been using on the computer. I also have it on my phone. So I was preparing for a conference the other day, a couple of weeks ago, and so I was just in between going to the gym and going to the bakery and then going to the conference. So I was able to put my AirPods in and run through some role plays and practice to really just get warmed up before that conference. So we built four different modes for voice. We've got a strategy coach, so you can talk through a deal, talk through a challenge that you're having. There's a role play, so we can actually practice with real buyers that we're going to meet up with, not just generic AI bots. Some skill drills. So what we've seen in best practice from coaching is you need some strategy help. You want to role play, but you also maybe just want to like run through maybe 2 minutes to start the day, practicing your objection handling, discovery, closing, that sort of thing to just keep that high performance happening. And we also have a quick start, which I'll just jump into. And this essentially just start a conversation with your playbook and your enablement.
Hi there, Drew. What's on your mind?
You all can hear. Give me a thumbs up. Cool. I got a head nod. Hey, well, I'm actually preparing for well, actually, I'm a new rep. Like, what do we do?
Okay, so you're a new rep and you're asking what we do here at Sales Playbook Builder. That's a great question to start with. We help B2B companies transform their tribal knowledge into a clear, repeatable, AI-ready sales system. Essentially, we take what your top performers know and do, and we structure it into a playbook that helps every rep sell more effectively and consistently. Does that high-level overview make sense, or would you like me to dive into a specific aspect of what we do?
No, that's good for now. So I'm going to do a couple of these, and if you have any questions or you want to ask the AI something, feel free to throw it in the chat to give it a test. But that's one example of just onboarding new reps. If I wanted to role play, you can go to LinkedIn. So with most tools, you can't necessarily scrape LinkedIn profiles, but what you can do is download a profile. So I'm preparing for this call with Chad. So I added his profile in here. And what we're going to do is AI is going to read the profile, understand what his role is, what industry they're in, but also what we've added in here is like every buyer is slightly different. And so you don't want just a generic AI role play of a buyer with a title and a company. What we want to do is run a behavioral analysis on that profile to really understand what type of person that they could be so that we can really prep for that real-time conversation. And so I could practice with Chase and he's direct and authentic and no nonsense. And then after, if I know I'm meeting with a CMO and maybe they're a little bit more laid back, conversational, and maybe the CIO is more technical. So I can have these different conversations to practice those with different people, with their different personalities.
Hi, thanks for taking the time to meet. I'm Chase Maxwell, so tell me, what do you have for me today?
Hey, Chase. Well, thanks for meeting up. I know we met at that networking event last week, and we just got to talk about onboarding your new reps. You got 5 reps today, and it sounds like you're bringing on another like 5 or 7 over the next year.
That's right, we're growing, but I need to make sure these new reps hit the ground running. What's your plan to make that happen without slowing us down?
Well, actually, I was curious about what your plan is. Do you have somebody in place to handle the onboarding, or how does that typically work? Like, are they shadowing? Do you have a sales playbook? Like, what does that look like?
Look, we're a lean team. My plan is to get them productive fast. We don't have a dedicated onboarding person, and a sales playbook sounds a bit formal for us. Right now, it's a lot of shadowing and learning on the fly. It's effective for some, but definitely not for all. What's your point?
Let's pause the role play. Can you just jump out a character and give me some coaching feedback on how he did in that first little bit?
Okay, let me step out of character for a second. What worked well there was your active listening. You picked up on my comment about not slowing us down and immediately tried to uncover the current process, which is a good diagnostic move. One thing to improve, you asked a few questions in a row. With a direct personality like Chase, try to ask one question, let him answer, and then follow up. It feels more like a conversation and less like an interrogation. Do you want to continue?
No, Mr. Chase, that's good for now. So at the end of each session, in those different modes, AI analyzes the conversation and gives me some feedback. So there's some key takeaways, some things to remember. And if I want to add my own reflection or notes in here to just remind myself, for let's say direct personalities, just ask a question and let them answer versus being more conversational, I can do that. So then again, this is push it to my CRM, or I can save it to my insight so the AI knows that, and then it remembers too, which is cool. So if I again go back in here,
Hi there, Drew. What's on your mind?
hey, I'm heading out to a conference this weekend, and I don't have a booth, but I'll just be walking around, and I want to do some business development. It's a franchise show.
Okay, so you're looking to do some business development at a franchise show without a booth. That's a smart move. What kind of conversations are you hoping to start, and what's your main goal for these interactions?
I just want to introduce myself and essentially get their card and just have a good convo and let them know what we do. I know they're going to be busy, so I just want to do that.
I hear you. It's tough to stand out when everyone's busy. The goal is to make a memorable connection and get that card, right? What's the single most important thing you want them to?
I'll just stop there. And when I was practicing for the franchise show, it gave me a couple openers, and I just wasn't happy with it. So you can go rework them and be more direct, or be more value oriented, or if you have like a framework that you have that you want to use, you can add in there. So that's the voice. So that's the chat and the voice. So the two kind of core components of the playbook. Let me show you a couple other pieces of this idea of like preparing. So let me do another one. So if I'm preparing for a meeting with Chad, so I did the role playing, and now I'm ready to get on the call with Chad. So the chat is powered by Gemini. The voice is powered by 11 Labs, conversational voice agents, and they're the best in the industry. They've got the they're doing it some amazing things and continuing to get investment. So the AI chat is just going to get better and better over time. The latency, which is the delay between, is going to get lower. The ability to process information is going to get better. So that's what I'm really excited about too, is that this platform's like built on the best of the best AI, so that we can continue to get better over time. So we also use Perplexity in some of our deep research. So now we've got a company snapshot for Chad. It gives us a quick snapshot, tells me if it's a good fit from an ICP perspective based on our playbook and based on the ICPs and buyers and ideal customers that we built out, some potential pain points, some discovery questions to start. And then we kind of built like this nice prospect prep just for this one specific for this prospect, for this industry, for their role. And it's also informed by our playbook and our individual role. And we've got the call sheet here, so I can copy and save this to my notebook. I can push it to my CRM so that I'm ready again. So if I'm doing prep on Mondays for my calls, I can do all this prep. And then when I get on the call, I've got this all nice in one spot. And let's say we know that they also, based on our conversations, they're using Showpad, which I said was a competitive or competitor of ours. So we use Gemini to do a quick little bit, but we want to do some deep research with Perplexity. So AI is going to go out and do some uh, research on that particular competitor, give us some pricing, product features, where they win, where they don't win, how we can position ourselves against them. While that's running, so let's go through this. While that's running, we also, in terms of onboarding new reps, so that's for like reps that are in practice. We take all the enablement in the playbook, break it down into chunks. And so we have different certifications with multiple choice questions that help test reps on the different sections. So that's great for new reps, or if you're pushing out a new product or a new territory or whatever you want in terms of enablement, and you want to test and certify based on that. You're able to do that in here. Cool. So we got our competitive intel on Showpad, quick company snapshot. We have their positioning, and then it analyzes four different buckets. So their weaknesses, even like it gives us some of this like pricing evidence. It goes to G2 review. So it says, okay, we went to G2, which is a review site for software. It's citing issues of content organization in there. So this is amazing competitive intel that you can't just get from Googling or you can't just get from an LLM. This is some deep research and it's organized for you in a way that a sales rep could use it. And now we can look at our edge, right? Based on their weaknesses, based on what our value proposition is, what's our talk track to position ourselves against that when this comes up. And in our playbook, we have objection handling and objections, but we want something specific for Showpad. And so this will give us these specific objections. So I can have my call sheet ready for Chad. I can also have this competitive battle card ready for that conversation and any recent intel about that particular company. So it's all about giving, like I said, I hope you can see that this is intentionally built for sales teams and the jobs to be done from a sales rep perspective and also from a sales management perspective to allow them to have a consistent and playbook informed preparation for their sales processes. One last thing, and then I'll pause and see if there's any questions in here. From a leadership perspective, you're able to see your team. So you can see some insights. We've had 33 total sessions. We have one of two active reps on here, some trending topics or discovery calls. So again, this can help inform you for running your coaching sessions, for putting together resources for the team. You can even chat about it. So what topic should I add to the playbook based on our conversations in here? Rep activity. It looks like Pedro needs a nudge because he hasn't been in a little bit. Um, And then if you plug it into the your CRM, so we're plugged into Pipedrive here, it'll give me an overview of the pipeline by stage. So we got $13 million, average deal size 26K, and here's the breakdown of it. And I'm really carrying the load for this team. I got 500 deals at $13 million. I can have a conversation with it. I can also say, so this is adding that chat layer on top of the pipeline in there. So you can do it as a team or you can do it as individuals. So if I go in here and say, okay, here's some feedback, highly unusual pipeline profile. It looks great because we got 13 million bucks, but we've got 81% in the qualified graveyard. So here's an issue. So again, this is some coaching points that you can use, and then also put together an agenda specifically for me based on my particular pipeline. It also shows me how many platform sessions um, I have in here, and we got the voice on top of it, so you can have a conversation about the pipeline as well too. Cool. So I'll pause there, see if there's any questions or feedback on there. I think we've got a couple extra minutes, but I'll open it up and yeah,
A
Mr.
quick
Dean.
question. Yeah, I know we have four playbooks in motion, but when you use the comment spin it up, are you saying that we will prepare with you, you will spin up the actual playbook for the client we're going to talk to and use that like as a role play in a live simulation, like what you're doing here? And I'm thinking specifically, Sean, with Aerofoam.
Yeah, well, I think with any if and you're talking from just to level set with the group too from a fractional leader, so if you're managing multiple clients and you're interested in this tool and you're building playbooks with them, we can if you have a playbook or enablement resources, we can put it in to do a custom demo with a client. And then if you don't, what we do either with a client directly or through a sales leader or a consultant or a fractional VP of sales is take some information, take their website, and just we'll build a sample playbook for them, and then we'll put it in so that the demo is
Right.
custom for them. Because I find we can't do a role play with a VP of sales or a CMO in SaaS if they're in manufacturing. So
Okay.
we can customize
Okay.
those demos.
So you're saying for a prospect, but if there's one like, I mean, an airphone next week is perfect timing because we're to the point of the graphics and the photographs. But for that one, will you be using the live playbook that we've already built to do the demonstration?
Yes.
Um, and how do we best prepare? Just set up a prep call with you because in that case, I know across four channels, which are kind of like mini playbooks, that there will be as many as 200 channel salespeople that potentially we could roll into the role playing for education. So I'm just trying to think through what's the best way to make sure you're well enabled with where we know the hot spots are or challenges. Because I mean, that's a lot of people that we potentially would have to think through how to accommodate.
Yeah, and it's a great point. So I think there's two things there. If we are prepping and we're working with you with a client, then what we do is get the enablement or playbooks that we have, and if we don't, we we
Mhm.
we build a sample, and then also
Okay.
preparing for that demo. I think is important of thinking through because anytime you're doing a demo, you want to speak their language. So if we can think
Right.
through their, let's say, one and two, three situations that they experience over and over again and run through that with them, they'll get it because there's going to be a million different scenarios to your point. So if we pick three scenarios that are specific to that particular company, then we can run through those scenarios so that it's more relevant for them. And I think you also touched on an interesting thing about this is great for a sales team, 5, 10, 15, 20, 50 reps, whatever it is. But also to your point, a lot of companies sell through channel partners and distribution. So imagine enabling those channel partners with an AI enabled playbook so that they can get answers to questions, whether it's technical, product, value proposition, how does it fit in with a client to help them sell better and help them go to your product in their big catalog of products is a great use case and a real differentiator for an organization that sells through channel partners to enable their channel partners to sell better. Thanks, Dean.
Yep.
So real quick, Drew. So if we have a client that we build a pretty comprehensive playbook for in the past, and I know they're not using it, I'm trying to get re-engaged with them right now. And Pedro, I'm referring to the citation zip sprout project that you did. That was a big one. And because it's so big, it's hard to get the salespeople engaged. Is the best thing to do to set up a demo with this owner? Um, because I'm tr- I'm struggling trying to figure out the best effective way to get his team to use this playbook. He's not going to do it. I'm not engaged as a fractional sales manager yet. I'm trying, but there's really no one driving it. And so I think if I can come up with some solution like this, at least the salespeople will use it or be more inclined to get engaged with it in the interim until I figure out the next step with this guy.
Yeah, the best thing is if you get some interest, because we've had a few other advisors do that same thing, go back to their playbooks and say, "Hey, we've got this new thing to bring the playbooks to life and give you insights on the usage of it and getting reps and meeting them where they're at." Yeah, we can get on a call and do that together, and we can bring their enablement into the platform and show them kind of what we were showing here, but specific for them, and be more than happy to jump on a call for that.
All right, I'll try to put that together and you and I can touch base offline.
That sounds good.
Thanks.
A lot of golf theme here going on. You got Dean's got the Masters jacket. You got the
Yeah, I got
golf in the
Amen Corner
background.
right there.
It's Masters weekend, isn't it? This weekend.
It is.
Hmm.
It's
For
not
March
it's not
March
far
Mad
down the road.
Yeah, for March Madness, right to the Masters.
Yeah, you'll see my post coming out in about 20 minutes, which will show me in my car headed down the interstate in Georgia. So,
Down to Augusta.
yep, it's a great place.
Very nice. Cool. Any other thoughts or questions from the rest of the group? If not, we'll wrap it up and let you get back to doing your thing. Cool. Well, I
Everything
think
is selling playbooks, right?
that's it.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Drew.
Cool. I got my I just put my email in there, so if you have any questions, you obviously you can just get me directly. You can find me on LinkedIn, that sort of thing. But appreciate again everybody spending some time with me, and hopefully get to work together soon.
Yeah,
Thanks so
good
much, Drew.
stuff.
Thanks, team.
Thank you.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Bye.